Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Joel McDowell. Today we'll be doing a mixed media project from start to finish using iridescent cellophane on a black painted canvas. We'll be using some epoxy resin. Here's the paint I use. It's Artist Loft Soft Body mixed with Floetrol. But here's my iridescent cellophane. You can get this on Amazon. It comes in all different colors. You can layer it in different combinations. I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. I'm laying it down here just to get a quick cut with a pair of scissors. You just get her close to start with. Don't want to waste the stuff, but don't worry about getting it exact. So now I'm going to take my clear glue wall and we're going to apply some of that on there. Moderate amount. Don't go crazy with this stuff, otherwise it'll take you 2 weeks to dry. Quickly, I want to show you what I was doing on the back and sides with tape. I have it taped off all the way around, except for about 1/8 of an inch to the surface. It's a gallery wrap canvas. So we're carrying on here, spreading it out with the spreader. Get it on nice. Excellent coverage, but not very much. Work it into the canvas. I'm just going to get the excess off. Okay, here I come with my first piece of cellophane. I'm laying it down and lifting it up and laying it down and lifting it up. That's the way you get good adhesion. Okay? Don't worry about being pretty to start. Just get it down there and lift it up, lay it back down. If it gets stringy, that means it's really going to stick good. So there we go. Now I'm going to take a clean spreader and get the air bubbles out. Okay, we're speeding it up a little bit. It's a really fun process. Takes a while, but it's worth it. Very therapeutic. Alright, we're done with that step. The next step is where things get real wild. Take a piece of your iridescent cellophane, crumple it up real good. And you get different effects. The finer the crumple, it's different. The larger the wrinkles in it, the more reflective it is. It's hard to explain, but you just got to play with it. Layer different colors in different orders. There's a million different combinations. You can buy this stuff in all different colors. Purple, red, green, blue, gold, what have you. I've tried like 6 or 7. So here we go. Put your clear glue on there. Squeegee it out. Okay, so I got my glue down. It's all spread out nice to the edges. I'm going to spread out my crumpled up iridescent cellophane. Push it down a little bit, put some pressure on it, get some glue on it, lift it up, move it around, lay it back down. Do that a couple times. Gotta make sure you get good adhesion on every layer. Here comes my side slice and dice. I'm just going to wipe it off a little bit before I put my epoxy resin on it. If got any glue on it, we want to get that off of there so there's no dull spots. But maybe I'll put another piece on top just to see what it looks like. Oh boy. By doing this, I can see that makes a big difference. So I'm going to do it. You can see there's a sharp crease there. I don't want that in it because we're getting to the top layer. It's going to be too hard to camouflage it, so I'm going to cut that crease out of there. I'm putting my glue down. Not much. We're real close to the edges. We're actually all the way to the edge. And just work it in there. You want to make sure those lay down real good. So here comes my uncrumpled piece on top of it. And you can see a major difference. Look at the difference between the one side to the other. Lift it up, lay it down, lift it up, lay it down. It just completely changes from just the plain orange and gold. I'm speeding it up here again. To this crazy reddish, greenish, it's hard to describe. And after you got this all laid out, next thing you do is let that dry. I actually lay it upside down on the basement floor of concrete and weight it. I put buckets of paint or whatever and let it dry overnight at least. Then I come back the next day, trim the edges with the scalpel very carefully, as close to the edge of the canvas as possible. Then I put tape all the way around the edges with about 1/4 of an inch lip, because the next step is doing the epoxy resin. So here I already put one layer of epoxy resin on this. So I didn't record that part, the video is too long. So this is what it looks like, and the video just doesn't do it justice because it's mind-boggling, the crazy iridescence in this thing. So here we go. I'm going to put the image on it now, and I had an idea from a previous one that I did of this Nautilus shell. And I'm going to put the Nautilus shell in the center with some like coral type of things around the edges. Here's the one I did before. This is the first one I ever did. And it's really beautiful. It's got a lot of detail around the edges. It looks like mother of pearl, but it's the same technique. I just used blue-green iridescent cellophane instead of the stuff that I'm using today. So here we go. I got my Artist Loft soft body mixed with Floetrol. It's about 1:1. Consistency of about a 3. Now I'm using a balloon, and I'm also using this bag of water. It has a different pattern. It's a little more intricate. I'm mixing it thicker, like I said, about the consistency of a 3, because when you go to remove it to get your image, if it's too thin, it just flows right back into the crevices too fast. You can't keep up with it. So you put it on thicker, and it's easier to do your relief. So this is kind of like doing a chiaroscuro, where you start with the completely blacked out canvas and you remove the black to get your image. That's the plan. So I'm getting my paint pushed out. It's that lip I have made out of masking tape. I fold over the top 1/4 of an inch to make it extra strong when you're doing the epoxy resin. So I want to corral the resin so it doesn't go over the edges. I got that done, spinning it out a little bit to level it out. And I'm pulling up my image, and we're just going to try to jam this thing out. This is really fun doing this part. The surface isn't perfectly smooth because I've only got the 1 layer of epoxy resin, so it's kind of hard to draw evenly. It kind of pulls your fingers around, which is no big deal. If you're not happy with your design, didn't do something right, you just do this. So apparently I wasn't happy with much of that. Give it another whirl. That looks closer, but no. 3rd time's a charm. I was having a hard time allotting for the other lines of the Nautilus shell. So I didn't make enough rotations. This time I got to go around one more time. We'll get her smoothed out. It's about like a chalkboard. You can just erase it, start over, so no big deal. Lift the finger off, little torch action, give her some of those bubbles, and then it's just going around and round and round, over and over and over for, I probably spend an hour on this part. You smooth out the lines and move stuff around. You gotta do the background, all the details, easily an hour, and then after it dries, you spend probably like another hour doing final cleanup, and you can do some touch up with the paint. You can remove more of the black, use like a Q-tip, or small paintbrushes in water to remove more. Whatever you want to do. That's the fun of it. But here I'm taking a plastic bag, I'm tying a knot in the corner, bottom corner of one end. And you turn it inside out, fill it full of water, secure at the top, and you're ready to go. Got that idea from Gemma77. She's got an awesome page. And I use this plastic bag to do floral patterns and acrylic paint. I like it better than a balloon, but I'm going to use both here. So it takes several times to suck up that black paint. I'm wiping it off every time. Stick it back down, maybe 5 or 6 shots to get enough paint off to where you can see the background color. You can speed it up, and like I said, I cut like 75% at least out because it takes a long time to do this. I'm not gonna kid you, but it's fun, it's cool. There is a slight time issue as far as your paint drying before you get it done, so you can't mess around for too long. Make sure you don't have like a fan or any air source blowing on it. You don't want to dry fast. That's another good reason to have your paint a little thicker. Here you see I'm using the balloon. I used the bag for the 4 corners just to get a larger pattern, and I'm using a smaller balloon to go around the sides. I'm hoping it'll look kind of like a coral, coral reef type of thing. Go with the Nautilus shell. So this is what it looks like as it's starting to dry. You can barely see the background, but when you put the epoxy resin on top of that, it'll brighten up immensely. Now I'm going around and adding my detail. Said you could spend hours on this. It's fun. I'm just removing black. And then when it's all dry, like the next 24 hours later, you go back and you clean up where you've removed paint with like a Q-tip and water, small paintbrushes, and that really brightens it up. So here you go. Poured some epoxy resin on there, and now I'm spreading it out. And you can see how much brighter it is as I'm spreading that. And this video is kind of washed out because I have extremely bright lights in the studio. You can see the reflection of one, but there's another one you can't see in the reflection, so it's very, very bright. That black is black as black can be in true life. I'm working that resin into the edges and corners first. Then I pull it out towards the center. You got to be very wary of air bubbles up against the side of the tape. You'll end up with an uneven edge. I like to have the edges like really nice. So I always leave a little bit of extra epoxy resin in the bottom of the container. And I Mix that up first before you pour it on. So here you go. This is right after one layer of, this is the second layer of epoxy resin. I'm zooming in. Again, that black is actually true black. It looks gray there, but it's because it's so bright. It's washed out in the studio. This is 24 hours later, so I can pick it up and tip it. These lights are not really showing the color shifting very well, but I took some video of it laying on my kitchen floor here. You're going to see in a second with my phone, and you'll be able to see a better representation of the color shifting here and the black. Keep in mind, my ceiling is white, so you're seeing a reflection of a white surface. See, it's got a mirror finish on it. See it changing from yellow to green to red to gold, orange. It's pretty cool. Thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave comments if I left a part out that you need to know to finish your project. Leave a comment. I'll respond. Thank you very much. See you next week.